Hey y'all. Hey, 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 and hey. Happy Thursday. Happy Thursday. Good evening. Good evening. Wherever you are tuning in from, Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, just go on and say hey in the chat. Go on and say hey in the chat. I am so glad to be here with you guys on tonight. On tonight. Thank you so much for tuning in. I am the Nicole Johnson. I'm the founder of Wealthy Women Lifestyle, where I teach women how to define and achieve their goal of financial freedom so that they can begin to live life on their own terms. And so, a lot of you have been asking questions today from a post that I made on social media that says there are 109 federal remote jobs. That's the post. You're welcome. You're welcome. Well, most people who have been following me know that I do share a lot of information from USA Jobs. USA Jobs, that is that's the website where people can go and find federal jobs. Within the different postings and the different listings, when you click on a job that you're interested in, it can and will eventually take you to the actual site for the federal agency that has posted the job. But the one central location is usajobs.gov. Okay, and so I share that. Hey, Miss TM Nance, how are you? I shared that there are 100 plus remote jobs, all different gamuts of expertise. Very few that are entry level only. However, there is a way that even from the outside, they're open to the public. These specific 100, actually, when I posted, it was 109. Eventually, there was 111 because they're steadily adding jobs to it. So, kind of mid-range experience up through executive type positions. Okay, but that's not the only thing that's on that site. I focused on remote public jobs because most of my audience does not work for federal service. So the goal was to see who was interested in getting more information. Listen, let me tell you about me and who I am. I started as a federal employee in May of 2009 as a legal assistant in Birmingham, Alabama. I have, in May of this year, achieved 15 years of federal service. I transferred from Birmingham to Dallas, Texas in 2022. From the time I arrived in Dallas, Texas in 2022, June in 2022, I gained my first promotion in January of 2023, and then a second promotion from my local hearing office into my regional office in September of 2023. So in 15 months, I promoted twice. And so those came with grade changes and all of that. So, what I have learned over the years in how to create a federal service resume, what to put in when you're applying, yes, remote public jobs, what to put into your resume, what to leave out of your resume, how to, for people who are internal to the agency, to complete your SSA 45, how to pull information out of your SF 50. Those are the things that I share behind a closed wall, right? But I finally said, let me go and see how many others need the information. Thank you, Ms. Nance. Thank you, thank you. Because here's the thing: when I applied for the job that I was hired for in 2009, that one was inside of what's called our hearing office. That is where cases go when people are denied at their local field office. They get denied and they file an appeal. It comes to the hearing office. That was the office in which I worked in and have worked in all of my career with Social Security Administration. And there were probably 6 other applications in what we call operations upstairs. I didn't get called for none of them jobs. God knew what he was doing. Okay. It's a different arena working from operations to the hearing office. So let me go ahead and make this disclaimer. I am in no way here to represent the federal government. I am here in no way to represent the Social Security Administration. What I am saying to you is things that I have learned, I have applied, I have gotten from speaking to other people in human resources, from asking questions, attending seminars, taking darn good notes so that I can make myself more marketable as I go up my career ladder. And so anybody who can tell me that they promoted twice within 15-month period, yeah, I think they might know a little bit, just a little bit. Okay. So what I am doing in the arena of helping you define and achieve your goal of financial freedom, for some of you, you need to increase the amount of income that's in your household. And you can do that with a better paying job. Okay. Some of you are full-time entrepreneurs, and sometimes you're going to learn, and entrepreneurship ain't for the faint at heart, right? And until the business builds itself or builds to a level where it can sustain you and the business, you might need to get a job. If you are a current employee and you're looking to get some better benefits, I worked in state government. I had a huge increase when I left state government, went to federal government. But I also now have the opportunity and stability where if I move from one state to another, I don't have to apply for another job. I put in for a transfer. I can put in for a transfer. Or if I go to another agency, I'm taking my federal service with me. It's all about a strategy. It is all about a strategy. So I have heard and got all types of comments about what I should have done and how I should have made my post. Don't tell me my business, because I promise you I won't tell you yours. How I do what I do to help the people is all up and over here on me. Okay, see right here. So I am here to be to you what I wish I had had when I was sitting in your shoes. Okay, because nobody helped me put my resume together. Nobody told me the little that would give it a kick. Nobody told me what to write in my cover letter. I didn't have that assistance. Okay, so it does not hurt me to help you. Okay, it does not hurt me to help you. So I hope that, so let's start with a few announcements. Let's start with a few announcements. I hope you have pen and paper. If not, be sure to subscribe to the channel, because you can always come back and watch it later. Watch it later. And I may do some more depending on what you guys say you're looking for. I may do some more, or I always will invite you, before we go on to the next thing, I will invite you to join the Wealthy Women Lifestyle. That's the YouTube channel. If you haven't subscribed there, go ahead and subscribe. If you're looking for some more assistance, go ahead and join us in the Facebook community, where we have tons of information in addition to this, but also other opportunities for work at home opportunities, different trainings, and really just doing an overall mindset shift on how you handle your money. Okay. Overall mindset shift on how you handle your money. You are so welcome. You are so welcome. So what I'm going to do is go ahead and I'm going to tell you about the website, and then I'm going to share my screen so you can get some live. I believe that you should learn something and then go do something. Okay. I want you to learn something and then go do something. So I'm going to share my screen in just a moment. So let's start with some announcements. Okay. So I'm going to start with a few announcements. I made a post about what a Schedule A certificate is. So a young lady reached out and she asked me a question because she stated that she has a disability. And can you obtain work working for the federal government with a disability? And yes, you can. There are people who are visually impaired. I'm aware of someone who is they visual impairments, hearing impairments. There have some learning disabilities, some dyslexia, some things like that. The government looks at you being qualified for the position that you're applying for, and then they have a responsibility to supply you with different assisted devices to help you perform your job. So if you need special equipment, larger screens, magnifiers, we even had at one point, one of the employees had an actual reader. She learned the skill set so she could talk to the claimants when they came into the window. But when it came to the information on the screen, she had a reader. That person, she had a person that actually walked with her, would read the information off the screen to her, and then she would be the one to relay it to the claimant that she was assisting. So there are all sorts of things that you can do even if you have a diagnosed disability. Okay, so please do not let that hinder you from applying for federal service work. You can obtain a Schedule A certificate from your physician. Also, I just did a Google search, what should be in a Schedule A certification, and it gives a whole bunch of information. You take that to your doctor. Most physicians are familiar with filling that form out or supplying you with a statement. And when you go to USA Jobs, which I'm going to show you in just a moment, when you go to USA Jobs, there will going to be actual certifications that you can sign up for where you apply for Schedule A positions, or the position is looking for people with Schedule A certificates. It's just like veterans points. Is Schedule A is an option, and it actually can ease some of the requirements for you, because they do want to ensure that they are helping disabled Americans be gainfully employed. Okay, all right. So I got a list right here. I done wrote down some notes, so don't mind me. I wrote my notes. So I talked about being an employee versus entrepreneurship. Please don't let anybody make you feel bad for looking for a job. Please don't. Don't make yourself feel bad. Entrepreneurship it ain't easy out here. Okay. It is not. I've heard somebody say entrepreneurship can be lonely, and I understand that. So for me, with health conditions that I have, I'm gonna keep my good government job. All right. I'm gonna keep my good government job. Let's talk about the time process, because somebody made a comment about that. Depending on the position and depending on the agency, yes, it can be a time consuming process. And let me explain to you why. When you have a position open nationwide, okay, you get thousands upon thousands of applications. The first round of weeding out is going to go through one process, right? And then, depending on how many positions they actually have open, that information goes over to the hiring manager. When it gets to the hiring manager, you don't know if the people on vacation. Ain't nobody cutting out their vacation because they had a position open. Okay. Depending on what time of year it is, if it's the PAX season where they are doing employee evaluations, uh, baby, that gotta wait, because we have a time limit, and management has a time frame in which those packs got to be done. It could be mid-year. They might be working on that. They have other requirements and obligations that they have in addition to, hey, Miss Jeanette, in addition to trying to set up interviews. So they have to assemble a panel. Then from the panel, they have to assemble the questions that are going to be asked during the interview. And they have a question bank. Okay. And it's going to be, let's say there's a 3-person panel and it's for a legal assistant position. It's probably going to be somewhere between 10 and 12 questions. Okay. They got hundreds of questions to look through. 3 different people, 3 different personalities. Okay. Well, I think this is an important question. Now, you know what? I really, it's a whole process to get ready and to make it fair to the people who are going to be interviewed. Okay. And now we got to schedule these interviews based on not only the panel's availability, but also the applicant's availability. Because if I've got 10 people that I want to interview, because that's what came on our what's called the best qualified or the BQ list or the BQL, I've got 10 people that I want to interview. Guess what? I got to wait for them to respond and then tell me when they can. And then as long as when it's in, it's a whole lot of things going on. Okay, so that can take time in addition to the actual interviews themselves. Okay, so we got 10 people we want to interview. Usually it's about 30 to 45 minutes set aside for each person. You can only do so many in a day. Now imagine that we're hiring for a class and that class has 30 people. There's a whole lot of interviewing going on. And then once the interview process is over, now the panel has to come back together and now they go through each one of the applicants and then they do a scoring. And then they're going to assemble the package of the top 3 or the top 5 or the top 30. Now, mind you, if they're hiring for 30, they interviewed 100. So when you talk about the process being lengthy, there are reasons why it's lengthy. You just don't know. And then it is government. And ain't no telling what can happen these days. Okay. So I'll say this. If it's for you, it's for you. I don't care if it takes 3 months, 6 months. And I'll honestly tell you, my process took about 4.5 months. Took about 4.5 months from the interview to the actual offer. About 4.5 months. And trust and believe it was a nail biter. Okay, it was a nail biter. Now, wherever you're tuning in from, if you have questions, actually, let me make sure because I can't see if you guys are tuning in from my page. If you have questions, so just give me 1 second, and then I'm going to share my screen because I want to show you some things that you can do. Some things that you can do to make sure that you actually have an opportunity to put yourself in a better position to be selected as an employee. I'm going to say this again because I see some of y'all just joined and I'm so glad that you are here. Baby, I'm not guaranteeing y'all nothing. I'm just telling you what I have seen work. How about that part? Can we get with that? All right. So let me share my screen. I already got it up for you. All right. Da, 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 da. This is the USA Jobs website. This is how it looks when you put in usajobs.gov. When you put in usajobs.gov, as you can see, it's asking me to sign in, which I shall not do because then you see all my business and that ain't your business. Okay, love y'all. Okay, so the first thing I want to show you is how I got to the section where I told you guys that there were 109 remote jobs. And what I want you to do, if you have the app open, if you don't, and you're just watching, you can come back later and play it while you actually do these steps. Okay, so where it says keywords, location or remote, that's where we're going to work right here where it says location or remote. So you're going to put in remote. Okay, hit enter. Let me maximize the screen so you can see a little bit more. And actually put it over here so I can make sure that I can see what you see. Okay, all right, perfect. So as you can see right here, it says 273 jobs, right? So as you scroll down the page, you're going to see these little icons, and if you hover over them, they all mean something. Okay, so I'm going to go under the assumption that you guys are all in the public. So we're going to go to hiring path, right? And I'm going to check that. And as you can see, it's thinking. And now you see 111 jobs, 112 jobs. When I did it this morning, it was 109. So that means that they have added jobs since this morning. Okay, so I like to sort by job title. Okay, so now what you see is they put them in alphabetical order. You can go over here on the hiring path side. On this side, you can select a specific agency. if you know you want to just look at Department of Commerce or the Department of Defense, it tells you how many jobs in those categories. Department of Health and Human Services has 53 jobs. Department of Homeland Security has 15 jobs. Okay. Other agencies, this is where Social Security. All right. So when you can select a department or agency, you can select an appointment type, whether you're looking for a temporary job because you just want to, you only want to work for a limited amount of time, whatever the case may be. You can sort by jobs by pay, and we'll get into that later. You can put a minimum salary in here if you want. You can put in a security clearance if you want to. So those are all the options. So I would suggest you just start with open to the public. Okay, does that make sense? Please tell me in the chat if that makes sense to you. So you can start with open to the public. Right here are we're on a GS pay scale. That's a whole different topic and discussion. So we can pick up on that later. But the pay scale is this right here. GS 11 to 15 is what determines what your salary is. Okay. So at a GS 11, your starting salary would be 72.5. All right. It would be 72.5. And you do also have locality pay based on where you live. This is not, locality pay is not included in this because locality pay is different based on where you reside. Okay. So these are this right here is a 9 to 15. And what that basically means is that let's say you started a GS9, that's your starting salary. That is where you are hired. Every year on your anniversary, based on the requirements in the announcement, you move from a 9 to an 11 to a 12, 13, 14, 15 anniversary, your salary goes up. Okay. Now, some advancements are based on approval, some are automatic. Okay. Some are automatic. So I scroll through here looking for a position that sounds like it would be of interest to me. If you look here, it says anywhere US remote job. All of these are fully remote jobs. So when I'm trying to see when you go inside of the position, it doesn't matter where you live. It's going to be a fully remote job. And I know, Miss Nance, you had told me about the contract specialist. Were you interested in any specific agency? Because there are a lot of contract specialist positions here. I can pick one. And what I'm going to do is go through the announcement to go over, what you're looking for inside of the announcement when it comes to how you fill out your application. Okay. But if nothing in particular is of interest, nothing in particular, go ahead. Was there a specific agency? And I will go over what the direct, they have a little bit of difference in the various requirements, whether it's a contract specialist or contract specialist direct hire. And that just really says that the agency has a little bit more flexibility in the requirements. And sometimes your probationary period can be longer in the direct hire versus just it not being a direct hire. That means that they're really trying to get that position filled. So what I'll do is let's pick contract specialist with federal acquisition. Okay, and that's only because it's getting ready to. So when you go, I'm making a suggestion. When you set up your account on USA Job, create a separate separate email address. Okay. Sometimes we make emails that aren't very professional. I'm not calling out no names. I have seen thick and fine tootie booties. Let's make it professional. The other option is so that um, you don't miss anything. I don't want you to miss anything. So you want to be able to not have this involved in all your other email, which you subscribe to. So you GS score. So let's go down. Contract specialist. Let's look at this one. Let's look at an 1112. Okay, for health resources and services administration. When you see that it has a clock right here, that means it's approaching the closing date. So this one closes on, it opened on July 11th. It closes on July 15th. That means by 11:59 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, because headquarters for most of these places are on the East Coast, they're going to close at midnight. So they want you to have it in. Please don't wait to the last minute. I have seen people complain that they can't apply because the system crashed that night, and you trying to get in there, and the next morning when it's not going to be there. Okay. When it's red like this, that means it's closing, is getting ready to close. Okay. So let's look at the 1112. Okay. So I don't think I see a 9-1 in here. Go here. Let's go here. See a comparison. Yeah, let's start here. All right. So I'm going to open up the listing, and I hope you want you to feel confident enough to go in and apply for these. All right. So there's going to be a summary right here. Okay. If you click here to learn more about the agency, it's going to take you to the CDC's website directly. Okay. Full salary. You start off at a GS11. On your 1 year, you go into a GS12. Could you go up that high? Yes, you could. All right. So let's keep on scrolling down. It's going to have and tell you more about who this job is open to. There's a video about the agency and what they do. Contract specialist, direct hire. You will be responsible for pre-award information. It's going to explain to you why done as a direct hire. It's going to give you any other caveats within the direct hire circumstances. Okay. And then it's going to go into the requirements and conditions of employment. Okay. Direct deposit is required. 1 year probationary period may be required. Travel, transportation expenses not being paid. It also tells you that this is a collective bargaining agreement position. There are some positions where you're covered under union rights. There's some positions where you're not. It will tell you that in here because it makes a difference. So qualifications, they're looking for someone with a bachelor's degree in any major, a major in any field, okay, or at least 24 hours in any of these specific majors, okay. It's going to tell you what the qualifications are for the GS11. You may also combine your experience and your education to meet the requirements to come in at a GS12. But then it'll also tell you whether or not education can be a substitute. because for some positions it can, some positions it cannot. What it's giving you an idea of is what type of experience it wants you to have. And this is critical. You know why? Because your resume, applying from the outside, needs to have some of these keywords in the positions that you've already done. Nobody told me that. Nobody told me that. Your resume needs to have specific in the positions you already performed from directly from the announcement. So if you have experience in pre-award and post-award procurement actions, your position needs to say that specifically. Okay, it needs to say that specifically. Tells you here promotional potential is at management's discretion and is based on you meeting qualification and time and grade requirements. Promotion to the next grade level is not guaranteed and no promise of promotion is implied. There are some positions where it will say it's just a step increase from year to year. That's why you have to read the announcement. Another reason I want you to have a separate email is that you have a clean Google, you have access to a clean Google Drive. And what you want to do is download this announcement, put it in a folder, and keep it. You want to be able to keep it so when you get hired, because some of you going to apply for 3 or 4 or 5 different jobs, okay? You're going to apply for 3 or 4 or 5 different jobs. When they call you to set up an interview, you want to know what position you applied for. You want to know what the responsibilities are. When you're confident in what you're doing, you are more relaxed, okay? You are more relaxed through the interview, okay? So when you are filling out your application, and you submit your resume, somewhere in your resume or your cover letter, because you will complete a cover letter, you will complete a cover letter. They don't, it's not a requirement for most positions, but you will complete a cover letter. You want to have the announcement number in here because the announcement number is how they track the job. If you call HR and you want to ask a question, the first thing they're going to ask you, what's the announcement number? Here's some other requirements about the position. Anywhere, because it's remote, it's not applicable for you to have a telework agreement. It tells you that you may be expected to travel. No relocation expenses are reimbursed because it's remote. It doesn't matter. You move from city to city if you want to. There's no security clearance. There's no drug test needing. There's moderate risk when it comes to position sensitivity. That means how much access do you have to classified documents? Some of it might just be proprietary information to the agency in which you work for. Okay, so this is something that I'm a paper person. I'm gonna print it out. That's just me. But if you're not, then you at least want to have an organized manner in which to track the documents for the jobs that you're applying for. If you have any questions, whatever platform you're on, please go ahead and put them in the comments so that I can address them as I go along. Okay. If we scroll down a little bit more, it's going to give you some more information about the position. It's going to tell you that your education has to be from an accredited university or college. It's got to be from an accredited university or college. Okay. It's going to tell you about your benefits. It's going to tell you about how you'll be evaluated. This right here is your required documents, because as you go into the questionnaire, when you set up your account, you're going to have the opportunity to upload your resume. You're going to do it through the resume builder. Okay. You can put it in a Word, pull it up in a Word document and copy and paste it. Okay. Into the resume builder. I personally prefer to, when I do my resume, I'm going to upload it. But when I save it to the final section, I try to make sure it's converted to a PDF. And the reason is that If it's not a PDF, it can go through the system, and then for some reason or another, it is a system glitch, may or may not have been fixed. It will be unaligned, and then what you have at a paragraph down here look like this. And so when they print it out or they download it, the margins that you set are gone. So, but if you lock it in as a PDF, it helps to avoid that. All right. So right here it says what not to include. Okay, veterans preferences. If you are a vet, you get additional points on your occupational score when you apply as a from the outside. They have a bad habit in some agencies saying you was hired off the street. I told them, I said, no, I wasn't. When I got hired, I was not standing outside doing this with my leg up. No, sir. No, ma'am. I was hired from the outside. Okay, let's be clear. Let's be clear. All right. So, but veterans preferences you have to have your SF-15. Transcripts may be required if you are looking to claim or you have combined education and experience. You need to have your transcript available. Now you can upload an unofficial transcript or you upload an official transcript. Okay. So you want to make sure I always upload official documents. That way I ain't got to worry about trying to get one. So I've requested a copy of my official transcripts from the universities where I graduated from, and then I scanned them in and uploaded them to my file. Once I upload them, I don't ever have to produce it again, okay, because it stays on the system. All right. Cover letter is optional. Nicole said you will write a cover letter. Okay. Remember that part. All right. Failure to submit any of the above mentioned required documents will result in loss of consideration. Please, please, please. Number one, do not wait until the last day to apply. Number two, apply on the first day or the second day. Go back before the period closes and give one last look and make sure your profile, your documents have all uploaded correctly. It's better to be safe than sorry. Okay, because we can get in a rush, overlook something, forget something, and thought we did it and it didn't upload right. Systems fail all the time. Okay. If you are relying on your education must be accredited. How to apply? Okay. It's Eastern Standard Time on this date. Don't wait to that date. Do it at least 5 days beforehand. Double check and then leave it alone. Okay. Gives you some more information. It's gonna tell you if you can apply online. It tells you how to do. I've never known anybody to not be able to, other than user error. Okay. If you want to follow up, there's always going to be who is the agency contact information. It's usually a phone number, an email. Sometimes it'll be an actual person's name. So it just depends. And then it tells you next steps, and it's going to give you fair and transparent. You can look at all of that. Okay. Are there any questions about anything I've discussed so far? If you've had an aha moment, if you've applied for federal service before and something that I've said has helped you, please put it in the comments, because I want to make sure that you are getting the most out of this learn something, do something session. I want to make sure that you are getting something out of this learn something, do something session. Okay. So what I'm going to do is go back to the results. Okay. Back to the results. And Miss Nance, thank you so much for putting those comments in the chat for later use. I appreciate that. Okay, so let me show you how to set up a search. Some of you might be looking for a certain location. So if you want to do right here, this search that I did remote I went to the hiring path of public search, open to the public. If you look right here, if I click here, it will save that search, and then they will email me new jobs as they become available. Doesn't matter what agency, if it says specifically that it is a remote job for the public, I will receive this in my email. So the reason that I want you to set up a brand new email or clean email so that you don't miss these opportunities. Some of them, like for this one, they're going to be hiring for some time. So it opened in April, it doesn't close until September. However, you saw that there was one that was open for a week. Okay. So you don't want to miss any opportunities by having it all jumbled up in your regular email box. Does that make sense? I hope that makes sense. Okay. So once you do a search, you click save this search, and it will start to send you emails about the search that you have applied, that you put there. So I may not be looking for a remote position. I might be looking for a location. So I'm going to search jobs in, let's remove all filters. Let me do that. Take me back to the main screen. Now I'm going to do Dallas, Texas, because I want to look in the area in which I live. 979 jobs. I'm not about to filter through 979 jobs. So I'm going to go over here. If I want to see only remote jobs or exclude remote jobs, okay. Let's say I want to, for me, inside of where I work, because I'm already with the agency, with the government, I'm going to look at a grade. Okay, so where I currently sit, I'm either going to take a lateral movement or promotion. So when I click here, I'm going to see all jobs that's at my current grade or higher. Okay, my current grade or higher. So that knocked that down to 284 jobs. So now I'm going to list them by job title. I'm a little anal like that, so I want to put them in alphabetical pass accounting for anything like that. This position is something that I would be interested in, because it's pretty much, when you do a good job, it's going to go from a 9 to 11 to a 12 to a 13, 14, and 15, right? So I don't see me being in a position and I don't get a promotion every year when they have a step ladder like this. Let me explain to you why those things are important. For the purposes of retirement, your retirement calculations are based on the highest grade you have held for 3 years or more. It's called your high 3. So let's say you start in the agency today, and well, let me go back. I started as a grade 8. I held that position for more than 3 years. In my new position, which I have not been in at the GS grade that I'm in, I haven't been there 3 years. So next year when I go up again, that position has not been for 3 years. So when I get to the top of my scale, I got to be in that position 3 years. If I retire before that, it's going to go back down to the position that I've had for 3 years, which was a GS8. That makes a difference in your retirement calculations. And your girl ain't going out like that. All right? Your girl don't do that. So I'm going to pause the screen for a second, and I'm going to talk to you about strategy. This is something nobody told me on purpose. Okay? Nobody told me this on purpose. When you start a job, whether it's federal government, state government, wherever, your strategy should be, how long am I going to be here? How much money do I need to build in the retirement plan? How do I take advantage of the pre-tax dollars? Okay. And what is it that I'm looking to accomplish while I'm here? You want to ensure that your professional goals, your personal goals do align with the mission of the agency, because that is where you'll find most of your contentment in the work that you do. Okay, I hope that makes sense. And that's just how I process. Okay, I look to serve the public, I look to serve the people that one day I might be. Okay, or one day I have been. Okay, I'm gonna need to file for Social Security one day. I watched my grandmother file for Social Security years ago. I understood her experience, and it wasn't a good experience. All right, and I mentioned that in one of my interviews, that the reason that I was looking to promote up is to have a wider impact on the most vulnerable communities that we can serve, because elderly people, disabled people are taken advantage of more often than not. So how can I have an impact on their lives and their safety and security? Okay, so it's not always about meeting a number. It's not always about processing as quickly as management may ask. This customer is a person. This is somebody's mother, grandmother, and Lord knows it could be my mother or grandmother or my sister or a loved one. And one day it could be me. And so I look at treating the people on the other end the way that I want to be treated. And it really, really makes a difference in the work that I do. So, if this is my mission within the agency, how do I get the best out of it? Matching with my 401k plan. It's called a thrift savings plan for the government. My agency matches 5%. So anything that I contribute up to 5%, they're going to match. So let's think about it like this. Every time I make a contribution, I get 10% of my earnings, not 5, 10, because I put in 5, they put in 5. Together we make 10, right? So there, I'm building that. There's an estimator calculator that I can use to project, if I leave my plan like this, how much will I have in 5 years? How much will I have in 10 years? Okay, if I change this or that, same questions. How much in 5? How much in 10? How do you build your future with the strategic roadmap now? You know what? I really want to make sure that in 5 years, I have at least this amount of money set aside. I want to get to this certain grade level. I want to get to this type of position, so that every day you hit the clock, you are looking to do something well for the public that you serve, but also for yourself. When you can find balance with that, the job will be more rewarding. Okay. So I want you, if you have any questions, please, please, please ask them in the comments. I'm also going to go back and share the banner where you can join my community for continuous support in helping you define and achieve your goal for financial freedom, so that you can live life on your own terms. Okay, because sometimes we got to be our own bank if we're an entrepreneur. Sometimes you want to have support in how, Nicole, how do I save on my pre-tax dollars? Oh, well, I want you to make sure you're using the TSP plan to the fullest. If you need to get a traditional or Roth IRA, you need to do that. If you're not, you need to be taking advantage of the dependent care flexible spending account. You need to take advantage of the healthcare spending account. Oh, we got all kinds of stuff to make sure you pay less taxes to Uncle Sam. Come on now. Come on now. All right. So again, if this has been helpful to you, please say something in the comments so that I know, because I want to make sure that you are getting something before you leave here, because my goal is for you to not only learn something, I want you to walk away and do something. Okay, I want you to walk away and do something. So we're going to set up our account on usajobs.gov, right? We're going to create a profile. We're going to build our resume. We're going to, let's talk about the occupational questionnaire. Ooh, child, yes, 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 yes. Once you fill out the position, once you start applying, you're going to go to what's called an occupational questionnaire. The number of questions can vary. Now, somebody would tell you, you answer yes, you can do all of the things. All right. Read the questions and make sure you can, please and thank you. Read the questions and make sure that you can. Those questionnaires are scored, okay? And saying no if you can't do it, if you don't know how to do it, if it's not in your wheelhouse, it will lessen your questionnaire points. And I'm gonna leave that at that. All right. Um, but knowing that you can do those things, you are qualified to do those things, and you say yes, that is exactly what gives you a higher scoring package. Okay, gives you a higher scoring package. Um, so generally, you're going to have your resume, you're going to have your occupational questionnaire, you may have your transcripts, you're going to have a cover letter. So at least 4 documents, 3, maybe 4 documents to complete your package. And it will be uploaded to the system. And at the time period in which the job announcement closes, that information will be shuffled over to the human resource contact person. They will do what they do. They will run that stuff through a computer, and then what will be generated is what's called the best qualified list, the BQ list, the BQL, and then that is turned over to the hiring manager for interviews. I'm going to spend a little bit of time on interviews. All right. Write this down. Prepare yourself to answer questions in the STAR format. Okay, the STAR format. Process in which they ask questions, and they cannot assist you in giving and what they'll do is pretty much say it in a different fashion, but get to be prepared. I want you to research, and I'm actually pulling up myself to give you exactly what the terminology is. It is a way that you're going to answer the questions that they, okay, situation, the task, the action, and the result. All right. So tell me about a time where you had to deal with a worker or manager. So you're going to tell them the situation, the task. When they say action, what action did you take and what were the results? Okay. The situation, task, the action, in that order. I have had them repeat the question, and I have had pen and paper right here, and I've written, jot down the key points that they were asking for. Okay. But in my head, I've already prepared. Ask them, the typical stuff is a difficult manager, a difficult coworker, right? Difficult colleague. And tell us a time where where you were the only person that could fix this issue, right? So really, what is it that you did? So I'm gonna give you a quick brief synopsis. One of my questions was, how did you deal with a difficult colleague? And so at the time that I was promoted, I said, so at the time that I promoted to legal specialist, I was new in the office and did not realize the amount of emotion that it would invoke. I see that, Nikisha, thank you. The amount of emotion that it would invoke in employees that were not selected for the position. and they were upset because I had only been in the office 6 months and I received a promotion. So in order to try to smooth over the situation, I took it upon myself to reach out to each individual, kind of, make an introduction of myself and trying to build a bridge. But unfortunately, it did not work well with all of the employees, whereas one in particular, and then I listed the different things that she said and what she told the manager. So the task became to see how to build the bridge, but I utilized my supervisor heavily throughout the process and asked for feedback and guidance. But to the point that it was no longer manageable and it was a disruption to the workflow, I asked the manager to arrange a meeting. And so during that meeting, it was where she could speak freely on her position. I could speak freely on my position. And after a conversation that lasted about 2 hours, we gained an understanding and that realized that there was a lot of miscommunication and misunderstanding of each other. So the end result after that conversation was that we were able to really understand how to communicate more effectively with one another. And as time went on, the young lady asked me to be her mentor. So to this day, she is still one of the people that I mentor, even though I'm now in another office. So you got the situation, you got the task of us working together. We've got the actions that I took with the communication with the supervisor, the communication with her, and then the end result. That is the STAR method of giving a response. They're going to always look for that. They may not be able to tell you how to prepare for that, but Nicole just did. Okay. Nicole just did. And the typical question is going to be how you dealt with a difficult coworker, how you dealt with a difficult supervisor. What would you do if uh, you notice someone that broke a rule or violated let's say a PII, which is personally identifiable information. So you know that that's not the claimant, but somebody handed them or provided them with information for someone else. What would you do? And so you want to be able to give that information. What's up, DJ Tony? What's up? Welcome to the party. You want to be able to give a scenario. And so having pen and paper handy to write it out as you take your, as you are giving your response will ensure that you covered all of the aspects of a STAR response, because that response is going to be scored. That response will be scored and it goes into your package. Okay. I hope that that made sense. I hope that that made sense. Then, even though it's not as wide of a process or habit, do send the hiring manager a thank you email. It just gives it that additional professional touch. It's not a requirement. It is not frowned upon. But if you're point for point with someone, you got to remember you're interviewing with people. You're still interviewing with people. And it can be the extra thing that puts you over the hump. Okay. So I hope that when you walk away from tonight's session, you have learned something that enables you to now go and do something. I really believe in the learn something, do something process. So you have learned something so that you can now do something. Join me over in the Facebook community and you're able to ask questions there. I actually have a webinar in which I go into some more specifics for various positions that people might apply for, how to actually frame your cover letter, how to frame your resume, things like that. So we can actually get in on a deeper level, because this was just surface, y'all. I promise you, this was surface. This was surface, but I promise it's enough to get you going in the right direction. So please, if you are still in the chat, which I can see y'all up there, go ahead and let me know that you did get something beneficial from tonight's session, because I want you guys to be able to know enough that you can go ahead and start applying for federal service. Okay. So again, I am the Nicole Johnson, founder of Wealthy Women Lifestyle, where I teach women to define and achieve their goal of financial freedom so that they can begin to live life on their own terms. I have enjoyed my time with you. I got to get over here and get busy on my own homework assignment. Okay. And so join me again on Monday, Money Mindset Monday. I don't know the topic off the top of my head, but we will do how your relationship works with your money and how your mindset um, is the driving force about to help you reach your goals, whatever those goals are. Okay, whatever those goals are, that is the driving force to help you get there. Right. I hope that was beneficial for you guys tonight. Thank you so much for joining me, and I will see you guys inside the Wealthy Women Lifestyle Tribe. Have a good night.